have your wax right here. There is absolutely zero reflection. So the other word for that is clarity. So you cannot see any sort of clarity, no reflection, no definition. The only thing you got was hidden oxidation, so it darkened the surface, and that's very temporary. Watch what happens when you put on 99% isopropyl alcohol. Oils from the hyperhold polymer coating is being removed, and this is when you get your boat fully detailed and you start to see fading very quickly. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 3 weeks. This is just an expedited process of what the sun does, but with isopropyl alcohol. We're on to our second test spot. We're gonna be getting this back to as close to showroom without wet sanding the gel coat as physically possible. So this is a 600 to 800 grit cutting compound. Here's one pass of the 600 to 800 grit cutting compound, super aggressive. What that did is added a little bit of clarity. I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like with a flashlight on the surface in the next cut, because you're gonna see how aggressive this actually cut into the gel coat. That's what it's meant to do. It is actually removing gel coat. I'm gonna show you guys that, and that's why we're gonna continue to work up in polishes to refine it to give it that showroom finish. We just did our second pass of the ultra heavy cutting compound. Now we're gonna move up to just our heavy cutting compound. This is our third pass. This is the result we're given. I can actually start to read the letters in my shirt. I can read my hat. It's almost perfect clarity, but I'll show you what it looks like under a light. Our first 2 steps were super heavy, aggressive cutting compound, and then we just moved to our regular heavy cut, and now we're gonna get into the polishes. We ended up doing our heavy cutting compound twice just to give us a better result. And to emphasize, it's actually giving you even more clarity, so you can see everything pretty clearly now. 2 ultra heavy cuts at 600 grit cutting equivalent, and then 2 cuts at 800 grit. Now we're moving to a yellow wool pad, which is gonna be not as aggressive as the white wool pad. He's putting on 1000 grit right now, so we're gonna polish that out to remove even more swirls. We just finished up the yellow wool 1000 grit, pretty aggressive, but really just to smooth it out. I can see myself almost like a mirror at this point, and it's basically scratch free. What we're gonna do is one more polish before a protective coating goes on. This time not on a rotary, but on a dual action. So we're almost to that swirl free finish point where we wanna be. We're gonna take it a step further here and do that same 1000 grit cutting polish on now a foam pad. We just finished up our last step for this video. Technically, if we wanted to get this even better, we could theoretically if we did wet sanding or continued past 1000 grit on different polishing and different speeds. But this is what we are left with. This will blow 99.999% of detailers and boat owners' mind. And this is what we're gonna do this whole boat. So that's at least a week. You guys saw what happened when we IPA'd the wax. It instantly came off, back to oxidation. And now you're gonna see what happens when we IPA when we're not trying to hide anything. We're finally done. Here's our wax, completely oxidized, not very smooth. And then we come over to our section, which did receive a 5 or a 6 step correction, and it's a showroom mirror.